myself more as somebody that makes visual things based on ideas that stimulate feelings and thoughts in other people. I was born in Sydney, and both my parents are science people. Okay. They're both veterinarians. My first sort of toys were these color-coded bones that my father had, which taught him, the physiology or anatomy of dogs. So I moved to the States with my family when I was 8, and then did all that education right up through university there. And so my university degree was in literary theory, which is part of the English department, and communications, which is where I studied photography. Becoming an artist is definitely a process. It's not something that you go to art school for and come out and say, I'm an artist. It took a few years after I did my master's in art before I actually started saying I'm an artist and felt comfortable with the role. Artists. There are people that are really talking about personal experiences through their work. And I'm not saying that my work isn't personal, but it's not necessarily rooted in my emotional experience. Often it's sort of filtered through a world of ideas first. And I don't want my work to be cold or without meaning or without impact. But I don't feel that it's about my break up with my partner 5 years ago. Well, I don't feel that every piece of art I make functions in the same way, and maybe that's why you can have a whole lifetime's worth of work and not necessarily repeat yourself, but you start to see things coming through. So at the same time that I was making Saved by Science, which is the series that's on exhibit right now, which could seem very kind of rational and institutional because it's looking at an institution, but it's also looking at why we collect things and the whole idea of, is this scientific desire? Is this what the passion of a collector? And then what is represented in these collections? So it's slightly more intellectual or conceptual. But while I was making this work, I also was working on a piece called Tulp the Body Public, which was done in collaboration with Elysian Ensemble, a sound group from Brisbane, and John Rogers, a composer. Tulp is this entirely baroque, over-the-top, complicated, human, full of pathos, and it's almost a counterpoint to this piece. So they're both about the role of medicine or science in our society, but they're presented in a very different way. So in Tulp you get all these stories by people who've been somehow affected by medicine or been through an experience, and they're really moving, and they are autobiographical, but it's not my biography.
Sure.
So I suppose my role in art is more about being a voyeur.